Okay, welcome back. We're now going to look at the paper B of the Planning and Management for Computer Projects for BTEC, the exam unit. And all right, what you're going to need is for this, you're going to need your all the saved information. First of all, you're going to need the project initiation document. You're going to need the Gantt chart, the costing, and the resource list. All right, let's do a recap on how we would save our resource list. So first of all, we're going to open the project Libra, okay? And I'm going to save the resource list. This is how we do it. We go to resource and we click resources. Then you would see the resource list here. Remember, if there's any unnecessary columns that you don't need, for example, what I did was to hide the columns that I don't need, so my resource list wouldn't be too complex when you're looking at it. So let's say I had AW there, right? What I do is just right click and just hide it. And all we would need is the name, the type, the max unit, and the standard rate for our resource list. So what we're going to do now is to save it. And to save it, we go to File, and then we do PDF and we print it, right? And you're going to save it according to how BTEC would want it. So I'm going to look back at the paper A. And what I would do, in my case, this is my resource list. So I'm going to do it as active to resource. That's how BTEC wanted to save it. And I'll just copy it. And then I'll go back to my project Libra and I'll just paste it there and then just replace the replace the unnecessary information that's there. And they would give you the number, registration number. Let's say it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? And then your surname, I'm going to just replace that with the Webb. And then the first letter would be Michael, M for Michael. And then that's what I'm going to do, is save it there. All right? The other thing you need to save is the costing. All right? To get the costing, we have to go to View, Report, then what you would see first, you'd see project details. You don't want that. What you go to is the task information, right? And it comes up with a default task information. Then you go to cost, right? And with this cost, it's going to show you the price of everything. So what you're going to do next is to click on this print or this save. We're going to print this, right? And don't print, just go to the name of the printer and say Microsoft PDF. All right, click OK. Then this will pop up. So remember, I'm saving it in my BTEC file. And what I would do is go back to how they want to save it. And it's costing here. And then I'll save it as, paste it there. So my registration number is the one that they'll give to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And my surname would be Webb. My first name would be Michael, so I need an M. capitalize my W. All right. And that's how I would save that. And it's the same for the Gantt chart. You would click on the Gantt chart, then you go to File, PDF, and you would do the same thing with the names. All right? And that's how you do it. But one thing you have to realize, I had forgotten to put my completion date on here. And according to this, my completion date is, so I have to just copy and paste it. That's my completion date. Don't need a time. And my cost would be, I go to view, and I go to reports, and this would be my cost right here. It would be 100 and pounds. Ignore that dollar sign, please. So it would be 114,628.73 pounds. All right, and that would be the cost here. So if I have all of this, and remember, this needs to be saved as a PDF. How do we save it as a PDF? You just go to File, because you'll only be getting it in the PDF format when you've saved it. So you're going to do Save As. It's running a bit slow today. And you're going to do, in my case, I'm doing it on this PC. All right, and I'm going to save as a PDF. Oh, no, it won't be saving. Let's see if we can save it as a PDF. Yes, we can. Save it as a PDF. All right. And then we save it as a PDF in the format that BTEC wants it with the it's going to say project initiation document, then the registration number. All right. And that's how you save it. All right. So now that we have all of these, right, what we are going to do now is paper B. That's paper A. We need paper B. So let me open paper B. Oh, to download paper B. Okay, so now let us continue. All right. So we're going to get rid of this, and I'm going to open my paper B, which can be found in my planning and management, which would be somewhere right here. This one. So this would be my paper B. All right. All right. And as I said, you'll need the PID in the PDF format that you have saved from the first, from paper A. You need your Gantt chart, you need your resource list, and your costing. All right, all of this will aid you in part B. All right, so let us open up our checkpoint report. Okay, and all right, for checkpoint report, I've put some things on mine before, but I'm going to just go over on how I did this. All right, when I'm reading what is we're supposed to do. Right? I've read through all of that carefully, and then I go to the set task. You're asked to use your project management skill and evaluation and all of that. And this is the information. A security breach was detected during testing phase, and it discovered that the door locking mechanism of the locks was not allowing employees to open them with the app on the phone. This delayed the project handover by 5 days. And you notice they're saying project handover by 5 days. So the delay would be 5 days on the handover. All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to open our PDF of the Gantt chart. All right, let me just put it over here where we can see both of them. And so that's a PDF of the Gantt chart. And we need to have our set task brief. Oh gosh, I closed it. Let's see. Did I? Yes, I did. Okay. Let me just reopen that. So let's go back. So we have the information here. So it says it delayed the project handover by 5 days. So we're looking at the handover by 5 days. So what we're going to do, we're going to go down to where the handover is, right? And we're going to put like a plus 5 days. Put a plus 5 days here. So we have plus 5. Right? And then it says, while it was being investigated and repaired, delivery of equipment of cameras and thermal was delayed by 14 days. So if the delivery of equipment and camera was delayed by 14 days, look at what's going to happen. It says delivery of equipment. This was delayed by 14 days. So where do we need the equipment? Right here from the 11th. Right? So it's going to delay by 14 days. So we're going to add 14 days to here. And then it says testing the combined smartphone app had a few problems. A further 5 days was needed to add more script and further testing. So let us look at it this way. If this is going to happen, a further 5 days was needed and added to add more script, right? Everything is going to delay the handover, because if it says, let's look at the delay of the equipment, we're going to add it to handover also. We're going to add plus 14 to here. Right. And testing also has a 5 days. So testing combined smartphone app had a few problems. So the testing, that would be smartphone, that would be software testing. So that would be a plus another 5 days. Okay, so we're going to add another plus 5 days to here also. Okay, So these would be for here, but they all would affect the handover here. All right. So what we need these for is for the date here, these dates. All right. So if this is plus 14 days here, remember this is 8, this is 9, sorry. It's going to affect this one also. So you need to add another 14 days here because it's a predecessor to 9. 10 is a predecessor to 9, so we need another 14 days here. And all of these is just so you can change the dates here. All right. 10, the milestone would also be moved. So that's another 14 days. And this is all just to change the date. All right. So this is 10, and 10 is also here. So this is going to be affected also. So that's 14 is affected. So 14 is affected by 10, right? 16 is also affected by 14, so that's plus 4. 14, sorry. All right, then let us look at all of these dates here. So that's 5. Let's see where the 5 is. 12 is affected. So that's 13. So this is plus 5 because this here, which is a milestone, has to be pushed out because 13 would be affected. 15 would be affected by 13, which is a plus 5. All right. 13, that's 13. Would be another 13 here. That would be affected by plus 5. All right. So all these end dates will now have to be changed, the ones that have the plus. And then we just need to get the dates on these. Yeah. That's all we need to do. All right. All right. So in saying so, if we add 14 to, let me write it instead. 14 to 3, that would be 17. So it will be, the end date on this one would be 17th of the 3rd, 21. This one would be 14 plus 9 would be 23rd of the 3rd, 21. And this one will be 14 plus 9, again, the same date here, 23rd of the 3rd, 21. And this is all just to get the dates. 5 plus 18 would be 13th of the 3rd, 21. 14 plus 12 would be 28. Sorry. 26 of the 3rd. So what's happening is all of these dates, these end dates have now been changed because of the issues that we're having. Then 5 plus 18 would be 23rd of the 3rd, 21. And then this is 14 plus 26, that would be 4th. So this would be the 4th. All right, this 15 is wrong. So let's cross this out. That should be 14. So that would be 26 and 14, that's 30. So 4 is 10. So this is that goes into April or beyond April. The 9th of April. The 9th of April, yes. Was it over 40? Total of 40. Yeah, about the 9th of April, okay. And then this one here would be another 14th. So that would be the 10th of April. So this one would be the 10th of April.
Michael, here is your reminder. Take my tablet. Michael, here is your reminder. Take my tablet.
And then we're going to add all of these dates now, which would be 20 up to 24 days extra. So it's going to take you into, so that's a 24 days. That's going to take you, let me use my calendar. No, let's just do the calculation. So that 24 days is going to take you into May. So that will be 24th of, it would be the 24th of April. So this is going to be the 24th of April. 24th of the 4th. 21. All right, sorry about the writing. All right, so all of these will, just to show you how I'm calculating it. All right, so now that we have the dates, right, we'll just get right into the checkpoint report. All right, so that's we need a checkpoint report. All right, notice my end date is the 24th of April, 2021. All right, so the period cover, my checkpoint report would be the last day of the project, because if you look at it, there was a delay for the equipment. That's the first thing, right? So because there was a delay for the equipment, the installation of the equipment, which started on the 11th, it affected the total project because the first thing we had was an issue with we had issues with the software, the testing of the software. So it affected all of the project because the issue started with the smartphone app, right? And I think on our, if we double check it, on our paper A, there was some smartphones that we had to use, right? And that would be a part of your equipment that was delayed, even though there's a camera thermostat locks. But if that's delayed, then it's going to affect the whole project. So we're affecting the whole project here. All right, so let us look at that. So it's affecting the period covered would be from the 1st of the 2nd when the project started until this day that we've calculated, which would be the 24th of the 4th, 2021. And the date of our checkpoint report would be on that day because that's when we're talking about everything that went wrong. All right, so the document version would be version 1. There's no modification because it's the end of the project. All right, and the date would be the 24th of the 4th, 2021. All right, the approval, the only person who is going to approve it, because it's the last day, we don't need anybody else to approve it. It would be Miss Payton. The only person you're going to distribute it to is Miss Payton. It's the last day. We don't need to distribute it to anybody else but Miss Payton. All right, then for the products, we have to look at the deliverables. And to get our deliverables, all we have to do is go back to our PID that we'll be having in the exam. And we just scroll down to where we have the deliverables. Did I pass it? Okay, good. Here we are. And look at this. All we have to do is just copy over. Our deliverables. Hold on, can we just do this? All right, so custom phone app, custom database, interface, new equipment for training. This one, no, we just do this. It's because the deliverable would be the cloud server. And this one would be installation of network infrastructure. All right. No, work undertaken. What is the work undertaken that we're going to look at and the date completed? So the work undertaken for the automated environmental control would be, this is where we're going to go back to our Project Libra, our Gantt chart. All right, and look at this. So the work for the automated environmental control, right? These are the work that we have here. Installation of network infrastructure, right? Or we can use our Gantt chart. our PID. No, let's use this. The work undertaken would be our. So work undertaken would be the installation of network infrastructure, cameras, sensors. Cameras, sensors. Hmm. Okay, so now that we are back, all right, so what are the work being undertaken? If you notice, automated environmental control, all right, that has to do with uh, the installation of cameras and sensors. All right, let me just go through this quickly, then I'll explain it. Okay, so, all right. So installation of cameras and sensor installation and configuring of hardware, that's a work being undertaken. Configuring security protocol will be used, that will use an artificial intelligence administrative assistant to track and monitor printers and the other equipments like the tagging of the smartphones. All right, and we had that on our first paper, so that should be in the deliverables. Okay, custom smartphone app. Create a customized app interface, setting up backend for this customized app. Custom database, setting up backend for customized database to access, customized app to access the database. New equipment for training staff. Remember, it said this here in our, where is it? Paper B? In our paper B, where delivery, okay. Testing of combined smartphone app had a few problems. All right. And it says mechanism unlocks was not allowing employees to open them with the app. So for the employees now, what we're going to be looking at for the employees is the fact that equipment installing hardware. So it's a hardware that the employees need. And also these include the smartphone. All right, installing and so that would be the work undertaken for this one. New equipment for staff, for training of staff. And then cloud. The work undertaken would be deploying and configuring the clouds server, which we have here. And then installing network infrastructure, the deliverable will be installing network infrastructure. And we can just put that here for now. But we need to see the date completed. So we're going to look at the date completed for these. All right, remember the delivery was delayed. So we could put that it was delayed by 14 days. So you put delayed by 14 days. All right. So that would be for the equipment. It was delayed by 14 days. But what would be the date that it was completed? So we would look for the equipment, camera, sensors, and then installation and configuring of that. So we could put that here. The 23rd of the 3rd. All right, so that's because it was delayed by 14 days. And then the customized app had an issue. So that was delayed by 5 days. Was it? Yes, it was delayed by 5 days. So we look at the testing here. So the testing. No, setting up. Okay, let's do the ones that weren't delayed, like this one. Customize database. Customize backend for database. This was not delayed. So that would remain at the 22nd of the 2nd. New equipment for training, that would have been delayed because we didn't get it. So installation, so we look at the last one here, which would be the 23rd of the 3rd, 21. Again, deploying and configuring cloud server. Was that delayed? No, that was completed on 22nd of the 2nd, 21. All right. The installation of network infrastructure, that wasn't touched either. So we have here 10/2/21. All right, so that wasn't touched. Hmm. All right, so that's the date for those, but let's look at the customized app. All right, smartphone app had a issue, and they had to do something to it. Right, but it says delay the handover, so we're not handover, so we're going to push this out. Plus 5 days, huh? So this would be 9/2, because it's 5 plus 4 is 9/2. All right. So those are our dates based on the calculations that we've gotten. All right. All right. So this is what the work undertaken is. You're going to say what the work that was being undertaken while these for the each deliverables, and if it's delayed. And we're going to put the delayed for these ones. Setting up backend, there was no delay. This was a delay of 14 days. All right. Deploying wasn't that. Installation of network infrastructure was not touched. All right. So these are what we're going to put for the dates, because we have to look at the fact that they were delayed. And that's how we would do it. So we'd put the deliverable, what work is being done to produce the deliverable, and if it was delayed at that time, are there any issues? Okay. Work package tolerance status. All right. I need to take this phone call, sorry. All right. Let us look at the work package tolerance status. With this, you're going to state the time taken for the project to be completed. All right. And there are different ways in which you can do it. For example, did the project meet the deadline? What was the deadline of the project? This was supposed to be the 4th of April, but based on your Gantt chart, you could say the project was completed, or you could say the project was completed within the deadline or before the deadline. So you're going to put, you could put this, the project was completed or let's do it this way. Let's future tense it. Project will meet the deadline. You could put that. All right. You could put the time that the project started and finished. So the time would be from here, which would be the 1st of a second. Oh, 1st of the second. '21 to so what's this on here? So it's going to be 31.3 dash 21. All right, so you could put this, you could say the project will or has been was below, was done within the deadline. All right, but you can put also the date that it was completed and then the cost of the project. That's where you look at your costing. And that's on your PID. Yeah, which would be here. So the cost was also within budget. The quality of a project. You could state that the quality of work completed on the project was as expected and anticipated. So or the quality of work completed on the project. Sorry, quality of work and quality of work completed on a project is as expected and anticipated, or also you could say ISO slash IEC 20510 20510. I'm trying to remember this. Hold on. Let's say 2020 use as a benchmark. Quality. All right, you could say that also. So there are things that you can say, or you could talk about the quality that you've done, the quality work that you've done, but just keep it at a minimum. You don't want to go overboard in the exams, and then that will cost you time, and then you can't complete the rest of it. All right. Issues logged. So now that's where the issues that were found. All right, so we're going to look at the issues that were found. All right, security breach was detected. So the security breach was detected during testing phase, right? Oh, there's a smartphone. So there's a security during the testing phase. So we're going to look back at our Gantt chart and hold on, we wrote some stuff on this. Is it the wrong one? This one. Okay, so we're looking back at our Gantt chart and we're going to look at the date where it says security breach. So the first one would be the security breach that was raised. during testing. And that would be for the hardware. So the date raised will be the 23rd of the 3rd, 2021. All right. Who would raise this? Who is testing it? All right. So raised by whoever is testing it. And so we are going to go down. Oh, this is where the numbering is going to come into play now. 10. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say 1. Let's just count it. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. So you could put raised by junior software engineer, junior network engineer. So you could put so the junior network engineers raise this. So, and then you go back to your I need to pull this over, man. To your paper B, and you're going to put what happened. A security breach was detected during this that. So that's what happened. Action taken. So what would be the action taken? Was not allowed. Open them with the app on the smartphone. So the action taken would be scripting. Add more scripts and further testing. All right. So the date raised, sorry, the date closed. The date raised would be the day when it was being tested, the first day when it was being tested, after it was being tested, sorry. So it wouldn't be on this day. Sorry, I made a mistake here. Okay, hold on. So the date raises it was this day here. Hardware. So it would be the 12/3, 12/3, 2021. So it would be in the testing phase that it happened. Hardware testing. So it'll be 12/3/2021 and 24/3 2021 for this one. All right. So that would be the closing date. Because after remember, you did the project, or you did the installation, you did the testing, right? And the testing would be on the date raised, right? Then there's an issue. So it extended that date. So the closing date would be the date after you're finished doing the extra testing. All right. The other thing that was raised was the other one that was raised was delivery of equipment, cameras, and all of that. Right? So what days was that raised? So we're going to look back at our Gantt chart. Look back at our Gantt chart. Hold on, let's copy it over before we do anything else. Delivery of equipment was delayed by 14 days. And who would raise this? The only person who can raise this one would be the project manager. He's responsible for all of that. So would be project manager. Oh my gosh. All right, so project manager would raise this one. All right, and when would this have been raised? When the project begun. So that would be on the 1st of the 2nd, 2021. All right, what happened? What was the action taken? There could be you could do anything right here. You could have other people working on other projects, or because it says it delayed the project by 14 days. So what you could say, other people other staff to be repeated to other task. To other task. And you could put that because you're the project manager, you can do that. All right. And the date this was closed. So that will be the equipment and cameras. So we go back to our Gantt chart. I need to stop using this one. Let me use another one. This one, let me just take it down here. Get rid of this one. And then just put it here. Okay, good. So now, okay, so now the delivery of equipment was delayed by 14 days. All right. So when did we get that equipment? We got it on the 17th of the 3rd, 2021. All right, what else happened on this project? So the testing of combined smart that further 5 days. So this would be testing. So we go on our Gantt chart and we look at testing software, which would be 5 days, right? And date raised would be on the 18th. 18th of the 3rd. Right? And 18th of the 3rd. And then it extended it to the 23rd of the 3rd. So we ended that testing on the 23rd of the 3rd. Right? And the description would be, we go back to this, and we're going to say testing of combined smart up few problems. All right. And we're going to put the description here, Control V. All right, so. All right, and action taken. The action taken was add more scripts and further testing. Right, good. All right, so now we've done this section. All right, we need to look at our lesson learned. What are the lessons learned? Are we missing anything? There's something missing here. Did we do quality management? Oh, we did not do quality management. All right. Let us look at quality management first. All right. So, or quality management. And if you go to your book, it gives you a lot of ways you can write quality management. You need to find a way of remembering how to write it, like a structured way, right? So first of all, I'd look at the quality standards. And remember, I put I have put on the top that I use ISO standards for quality management in this case. Right? So you could put that you have chosen ISO as a benchmark, and you explain how you would use the ISO as the benchmark. All right. Hold on, let me answer this call again. Yeah, welcome back. Welcome back. No, we're going to look at quality management, and how we look at quality management would be, first of all, we're going to talk about quality standards. Yes, and that's something we have learned in class, where we can say we use ISO, IEC 25010 as a benchmark for any quality, as a benchmark for any quality standards that we're going to proceed with in the project. All right. You can say that the client, remember, you didn't discuss quality with the client. So you can talk about the fact that even though the client didn't specify the type of quality standards that he would like, you have decided to use ISO, which is an international standard, right, as a benchmark for doing the project, right? You can talk about what ISO is, all right? And then you can also talk about what the client requirement is. And we all know what the client requirement is because it was on paper A. It's to provide 30% efficiency saving on utility bills, minimize security risk, improve the well-being of staff. And the other thing you need to talk about would be the project life cycle, how you manage the project life cycle, plus the issues that occurred in the project life cycle, and how you manage the budget. All right, let me just pause the video and do a quick one so we can just go through it together. Okay, here we go. Okay, so what I did was, all right, I started by saying, once the design was agreed on, we went ahead with the development of a system. The client did not ask for a specific use of a quality standard for this project. However, I've chosen to use ISO IEC 25010 colon 20.20 as a benchmark. This standard ensures, sorry, bad English, ensures the customized interface and other software being developed and installed on this project is of highest standard, and so that the software engineers and the app developers will understand their task. But not also them, also the network engineers. They will understand their task. All right, the client requirements was Miss Payton feels that the new system will, and we can just copy and paste this from our project initiation document that we have, because it's there. Let's look at it. Where is it? Project initiation document. Oh, we don't have that one. Where is that? Okay, sorry. It's here. It's here on the PID. Right here. So we just copy this, paste it over there, and just change the wording. All right, project life cycle. The system went ahead as planned, and I ensure that we follow the correct project life cycle. Right? All staff was allocated to their task and followed the plan design, which made the project more efficient. right? However, there were unforeseen issues and we had to plan around issues that we had to plan around. We had to plan around and mitigate, right? Such as security breach was detected during the testing phase and discover that the door locker mechanism for the lock was not allowing the employees to open them with the app on the phone. So this, all I did was to copy this from here. I just copied it, right? And we mitigated this by delaying training of the staff because that's what we had to do while the fault was being investigated and repaired. That's mitigation. All right, the other thing was delivery of equipment was delayed by 14 days, and the testing of combined smartphone app had a few problems. All right, so this should have been separated here. Let's get rid of that. All right, this was mitigated by allocating the staff to other tasks where they collaborated and acquired knowledge while waiting on delivery. So what I did was this. Remember, they said they didn't buy, according to this. In other circumstances, we could have said that we ordered from other suppliers, but the set task brief didn't say that. It said it delayed it by 14 days. So what we have to do is wait on it. So while waiting on it, we can't have our staff being idle. So we allocated the staff to other tasks where they collaborated and acquired knowledge while waiting on the delivery. So this is how we did it. And this those tasks that they're allocated on, right? Okay. Right. This reduced the time for completion of these tasks. So what's happening? You're telling them that you know what you're doing. So by reducing the completion of these tasks, right? While waiting, because you've put your staff on other tasks. So by putting them on those tasks, these tasks will be the time taken for these tasks to be completed would be reduced. All right, so that's what we would do in this case because they didn't say anything else about ordering from other suppliers. So you just put what you can do at this point. All right, testing the combined smartphone had a few problems. This was mitigated by adding more scripts and further testing. All right, regression testing was added into the scheduled timeline to accommodate unforeseen testing errors. And this is what you did. Now, let's look at the budget. The project was well within budget at the end of planning, and the estimated cost was $114,628,073. The budget was 125,000, which left us with extra funds to deal with any unforeseen issue. The team and I came up with solution on how to mitigate these issues. And that's it for how you do quality management. You have to write. What you have to write on is based on what you have done in these circumstances. Or this is how we will do everything, or how everything will be done. Right? So when you see the unforeseen circumstances, what are you going to do? How are you going to do it? How are you going to use a budget? How are you going to allocate workers? How are you going to task? What are you going to do in case of delivery problems? Just say what you are going to do with it, with the quality management, and what benchmark or what type of quality standards are you going to use to ensure that quality is met. Okay. All right. So now we're going to look at lesson learned and okay. Now for the lesson learned. All right. This should show a thorough understanding for the project management. All right. So what should happen is when you're discussing the lesson learned, consider all issues that were raised. That's the first thing you should think of. How you have dealt with the issues. You need to think of how you could avoid those issues arising in the future. You don't need to add any made up issues. That's the first one of the things that will create an issue. All right. Uh, so just try to remember the issues that arrive, how you've dealt with it, and how you will be dealing with it in the future. All right, let me just speed write this one. Give me a second. I'm going to pause, then write it, then okay. So through this project, I've gained valuable knowledge that I will use on future projects. So I'm telling them that I've gained a knowledge, right? The issues that arose on this project has given me the understanding to challenge similar issues more efficiently on future projects. All right, after an in-depth review of this project, I think I have delivered a satisfactory product. So I'm telling them what I've done. I've delivered a satisfactory product. The project was completed within budget. I have done this by allocating staff to task in an efficient manner as the tasks were done effectively. All right, so that's what we did on the Gantt chart. We put people to task on we put different people to similar task where we reduce the time for the task to make it more efficient and effective. All right. So that's what we did when we were doing the Gantt chart. All right, because task was performed effectively and efficiently, it gave me more time to deal with issues that arose throughout the project. Right? By creating suitable mitigation plans, reduce risk to the project. All right? So, I also created a communication plan that was very effective. So the communication plan, we have to communicate with people if we're going to deal with issues. So you think about that. Communication plan, think about people that is going to deal with the issues with you. All right? That was very effective with staff and client. I regularly communicate with the team leaders to discuss progress, and all this is from paper, my paper in the first paper, on paper A. This has to do with my PID, my communication. That's it. All right. So I'm talking about my communication plan, but I'm linking it with the issues. All right. I regularly communicate with the team leaders so I can discuss progress of the project and issues that may arise. If the team leader is not available, the junior engineer could also arrange meeting, which allows them to notify me of any issues that may come up at any time. The client was regularly updated on the progress of the project to ensure that the deliverable produced are what was agreed on and meet the client's requirements. All right, now that's just an introduction to state how uh I communicate, I arrange tasks so that just in case issues arise, that I would have time to mitigate these issues and how I did it effectively. All right. The major things I've learned during this project are I should have backup suppliers just in case my main supplier right? So this is where I got this from, about the supply delivery, right? My main supplier has issues. The delivery was delayed by 14 days and was the biggest issue I had throughout the project. This delayed the installation of hardware because it delayed the installation of hardware and its predecessors. So on my Gantt chart now, uh, on my Gantt chart, that's where I went and I got the information because it did do that. These are my predecessors, and if you notice, it has some delays on it. It delayed my predecessors. If there was a backup supplier, we could have mitigated this issue, though it would have cost more, right? So remember, it didn't say they did a backup supplier, so we have to work with that again. As I said it before, we have to work with it. So the fact is, if I had a backup supplier, right, it would have cost more, yes, but the cost would have not been an issue as funds was left over from the budget and could have been used for backup a backup supplier. So look at it this way. Remember, the budget was 125 and we spent about 114.5. All right, when I round it off, 1,000. 114, 114,000, right? Basically, that's what we used. So we had the extra cash that we could use for the backup supplier. Well, or in the case, another supplier could have been materials delivered for the site before the project start. Now, the solution was to have the material delivered to the site before the project starts, and that would have mitigated the delay. All right, so we're talking about what we have done, what we could have done, and what caused the issue. All right, the door locking mechanism for the lock, and this is on your paper again, right? Was not allowing employees to open them with the app on the phone. The employees were using an app that did not work properly. Lesson learned is to ensure software are thoroughly tested before delivering it for use. right? So that's a lesson learned, right? Uh, we did have regression. We could talk about the regression here, right? We could have said we should have used regression to properly test the software. We could put that there. All right. Right? So we could have put regression. And finally, I have fully documented the professionalism of the team's work throughout the project. Therefore, the company is aware of all the work that was done and completed by the project team. So this is where I'm going to leave it for now. But when you're writing a lesson learned, you're discussing the lesson learned. Consider all the issues raised. That's the first thing. The action you have taken to deal with those issues. Next, you need to think of how you could have avoid these issues arising in the future, in future projects. So you have to talk about that. You don't need to add any made up issues. Don't do that. That won't work. You won't get points for that. All right. And also, remember, you have to think about what has gone well also, right? That's what I did before I started talking about the issues. What went well? Think about that also. So you have to think about what went well in a project before with when you're doing a project. Communication, the effective allocation of tasks to staff. Those are the things that you need to think about when you're doing a lesson learned. All right. And without further ado, let's go over. So remember, period covered is whenever all the issues started and when they ended after you do the calculation with the Gantt chart. The date of the checkpoint report would be the end date of your period cover. All right. The version of the document would be, in this case, if it's everything, if you're doing it at the end of the project, it would be version 1. Usually BTEC put the version there. In some instances, BTEC would put the version. There's no modification because this is the end of the project. This is like a final report right here. You would be doing the report and you do it at the end date here. All right. The approval would be by Miss Payton, the managing director, the sponsor. No signature. The same date for the end of the checkpoint report. Period cover, the end of the period cover. Distribution will be only to Miss Payton. You won't be distributing anything to the team again. It's only to Miss Payton. She needs to get the report. All right. For products, it would be, the product name would be your deliverable. All right. And the work undertaken, you can use your Gantt chart for that. Use your Gantt chart for the work undertaken. All right. Or in this case, I look back at my paper, my PID to get this. And then the date completed, remember, it's the last date. If it was delayed, you put the delayed date that it was completed when you go on the Gantt chart. Where is it? So you're going to look for what date was completed, like this one that you've calculated, and that's what you'd put here. And the ones that weren't affected, you don't even touch those. All right. All right, quality management. When you're doing quality management, there are things you need to remember when doing quality management. First of all, Do not put anything on the paper that's made up. Yes? What you need to do, if you follow this structure here, quality standards, quality requirements, project life cycle, budget, you have no problem. And what you put in a quality manage, you talk about how you manage the project using what as a benchmark. For example, I'd say I use ISO IEC 2510 2020 on mine, right? As a benchmark to ensure that the quality of the project was met. That's what I did for the quality standards. All right. The client requirement, that's easy. You just go to your PID. You just go, hold on. You just go over to your PID and you go up where it says what Miss Payton required. This section here under the aims, what she required. And you just copy and paste it, just change she feels that, just put Miss Payton feels a new system will, right? And that's what she required. Uh, project life cycle. You talk about the life cycle, like the system went ahead as planned. You talk about what happened in the system. All staff was allocated to tasks. That's when you've done your calculation of the function points. You can talk about how you allocate the staff using the function points. You can do that, right? And then now you're going to talk that after you've done all of that to make everything efficient, you're going to say that there were unforeseen issues with her, which that you didn't plan for and had to mitigate, and you talk about what they are. And when you're going to talk about what they are, all you have to do is go over now to paper B. Go over to paper B. That's paper A. Where's paper B? Right here. So you go over to uh, paper B, and then you just copy and paste it. And then while you copy and paste it, you're going to say how you've mitigated it, right? How you have mitigated it. And employees to open that and up on a phone by delaying training of a staff while the fault was being investigated. And you're going to say, how in the future, what are you going to do? What would you do in the future for that one? How would you prevent this from arising in the future, right? So how would we do that? By ensuring hardware thoroughly testing. So inferior, so ensure, I will ensure on hardware and software. Keep doing that. Testing of all hardware and software. In future, will ensure. Before scheduling staff training. All right, so that's one. All right, the next one would be the delivery of cameras, so delays, and I say how I, in the future what I do. And then a smartphone, mitigated, script future, regression testing was added to schedule timeline to accommodate unforeseen errors. So I've said that I've taken care of this by doing that. All right, so all of this is how you would mitigate the issues and what you would have done in the future. And then the budget now. The project budget was well at the end of planning, right? Estimated cost was that. The budget was extra fund to deal with any unforeseen issues and the team issues. The team and I came up with solution on how to mitigate these issues. So I'm going further into saying what I use the extra money for the budget for. And then the workplace tolerance status project will meet the deadline, right? And it did. And this is the deadline for the project. We didn't even touch April. And the cost of a project was this. And you could put something like was below budget. Quality. The quality of work completed on a project is as expected and anticipated. Or you could use, was used in the ISO IEC was used as a benchmark for quality. And then issues logged. We know who was working for the AIM security breach, who was working on it. We use the Gantt chart for this. So we go back to our Gantt chart and we look at who was working on it at the time. And it was the juniors that were working on it, junior network engineer. Delivery equipment, that was me because I was responsible for the ordering. And then what I did to action take was other staff had to be reallocated to other tasks. Right? Then I say the date. All right, other testing of combined mobile app had a few problems. Add more scripts and further testing was done on it, and that was it. And then we go down to lesson learned. And you talk about with lesson learned. Again, you talk about how issues have arisen, how you've dealt with it. Need to think about how you could avoid these issues arising in the future. And that's what I did right here. All right, so thoroughly I've gained knowledge and I'll use future projects. That in budget, I have done this by allocating a task. You say what you've done to the budget to achieve the project within budget. You say what you've done, right? The communication plan. People are notifying you of issues that arise so you can take care of it immediately. All right. And then you talk to the client to see if your deliverables produce or what they agreed on or if it meets the client's requirements. All right. Then you go into the major thing that you have learned. The project you should have backup supply just in case the main supplier has issues. Delivery was delayed by 14 days, and this was the biggest issue you had throughout the project. And the backup supply could have mitigated all of this. All right. Then you talk about the funds left over that could be used for the backup supplier. Another solution could have been the material delivered. So all of this, guys, you can just use all of this as a part of your when you're doing your project. And remember, when you're going into the exam, have a structure for each of these. Something you can remember. Or what you could do is create a generic one. And then from that generic one that you've created, you just apply it when you get to the exam. It will be faster and it will be better for you. All right. In saying so, that's it for this section, the checkpoint report. In the next section, we are going to do the email. All right.